what does FIT stand for? It's an acronym.
Physical endurance.
No? Any ideas? Any guesses?
Endurance is
Okay, we'll dive into it. So the FIT principle is something that we'll be able to use to kind of figure out how often we should be doing different exercises and things like that. So when we go through, I'm going to have you guys take notes on the FIT principle here. So you'll just fill in the blank there, and then the definition and just a picture with it, all right? Yeah, just a little something so that you guys can remember what it is. Yes. With two T's, I know they smell funky. Like, I'm funky. All right, so our first letter here is going to be F, which is frequency. So simply just the number of times a week that you're doing something. So this could be the number of times a week you're running, anything like that. Pretty straightforward for you, I think. We'll take a second at the end to draw pictures, so don't worry about that right now. Our I is going to be intensity. So how hard you're working. Are you jogging or are you sprinting? Is it a walk? So just kind of the difference between your maximum to your lowest, which will kind of differ depending on what you're doing. Our first T is going to be time. So simply enough, just length of the exercise. How long are you going to be running? How many miles are you going? Just something like that. Yeah, make sure it's seconds, definitions All right, and then our last T is going to be type. So exactly what are you performing? Like what workout are you doing? So like my example, are we running? Are we lifting? Are we even stretching or something like that? So once you get that definition down, go ahead and just take a second and draw a quick little picture on the bottom of each of those, just to kind of remind yourself exactly what the FIT principle is. Just some little tiny sketches, doesn't have to be anything super detailed.
You'll have to show me now.
Someone's sweating.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Like he's crying. There you go. All right, go ahead and take another 10, 15 seconds to finish up the one you're on, and we can always come back to it if you need. If you guys want to see, there's the handout, and this will be their homework that they'll be doing afterwards. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. So we're going to be talking about our 5 different components of fitness. Have we ever heard about these? 5 components of fitness? No? Okay, so this will be fresh for you. All right, so you guys will be taking notes in your notebooks that you have there, and you're going to need to know most of this information for making workout plans, okay? Which is something that we'll be doing later. So our first one is cardiovascular endurance. Does anyone have any guesses or any ideas on what cardiovascular endurance is?
Sounds familiar.
It's endurance.
Yeah, so yeah, like your stamina, your endurance of your cardio, yeah. Stamina, yeah. So looking at cardiovascular endurance, this is kind of a big definition. You can break it down a little if you want, but it's the ability of the heart and lungs to work together to provide oxygen and fuel to the body during your workouts. So basically you're looking at a workout that's going to be a longer duration of time or like a longer period of time where you're going to have to be breathing more. So with that in mind, what do you think are some examples of cardiovascular endurance?
Running.
Yeah, running, perfect. What'd you say, buddy?
Huh?
Did you say running?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What else could we think of besides running? Swimming, yeah, perfect. That's a good one. Swimming's a great workout. You got any for me, Trevor?
No.
No?
Boxing.
Boxing, yeah,
Yeah.
that might work. Yeah, that'll touch on it a little bit. So a couple examples for you, like you guys had jogging, cycling, so biking. You can kind of think of cardiovascular endurance as what's in the front part of the wellness center there. So we have treadmills, right? So running, bikes for cycling, ellipticals. What else can we think that's up there? Yeah, the stair climbers could do it, as long as you're going for a long period of time, longer. The road, yeah, a little bit. Perfect. All right, so now we're gonna apply kind of the cardiovascular endurance to our FIT principles. So can you guys remind me, what is the F on FIT? Frequency, perfect. So how many times a day should we be doing cardiovascular endurance stuff? 5 to 7 times a week.
I at least get 5.
5, yeah. That's football and everything.
Trevor,
Football makes it
Trevor,
5.
you get a lot more.
And then I get 6 when I go do 6 after.
There you go.
And if you-
Perfect. And then what was our I again in FIT?
Intensity.
Intensity, awesome. So with cardiovascular endurance, what do you think intensity would look like? Hard, something like that, distance, yeah. So it's gonna be 65 to 85% of your max heart rate. Can anybody tell me here what their max heart rate is?
6,000.
Not quite. All right. So we gotta do a little bit of math, but it's pretty simple math for you though, okay? So to find our max heart rate, all you're gonna do is you're gonna go 220 minus your age. And that's gonna give you your max heart rate. So how old are we in here? 14, 15? All right, so 14, 15. So we're looking at, if you're 14, 206 beats per minute is going to be your max heart rate. Whereas if you're 15, you're looking at 205. No, not quite. This is just, you're not wanting to go much higher than that.
What if I do get higher?
Yeah.
If I get up there like 250
I don't know.
If you're 220 years old.
So yeah, this is gonna give you your max heart rate. So do we have any math whizzes in here? Anyone really good at math?
Where is
Okay, so if we're looking at 65 to 85% and you're 15 years old, what do you think our heart rate should be around then? 140, yeah, maybe a little higher. So yeah, you're looking like, we'll say like 150 to 170 maybe, is where you want to be running at for cardiovascular. So yeah, that's a great way to kind of track it and see. It's nice because you can go back and look at it there too. So what was our first T in our fit to move on? Time, perfect. Yeah, so cardiovascular endurance, we're looking at just 20 minutes or more when you're doing one of these workouts. Yes, exactly, you're getting it.
I think they have soccer practices.
Sometimes.
They go from like 3 to 6.
Yeah.
Cause y'all are like just get done when I get home and that's at like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, they're long ones. All right, and our last T. What was our last T again? Type, perfect. So once again, type here: running, swimming, biking, anything like that. Do we have any swimmers in here? No.
We don't have a swim team.
Okay, that's fair. Can you try and do it? Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're a swimmer, I have a lot of appreciation for you because I took a swimming class at college and it killed me, honestly. So,
That makes soccer.
it's a lot different.
Like not like it's like.
Did it make soccer easier or harder?
It helped a little bit, definitely. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to another component of fitness here. We got muscular strength. So just seeing that, what are we kind of thinking muscular strength is? The muscles, yeah, lifting, perfect. Sweet. So the amount of force a muscle can produce. So when we're talking this, are we looking at more high weight or high reps? Yeah, high weight. Yeah, so you're looking at like the maximum amount of weight you can produce, or like that you can bench, or whatever it might be. Compared to trying to do 30 reps or whatever you might be doing. So a couple examples of muscular strength. What are some things? I know I just said bench. What else could be lifted? Squat, yeah. Deadlift, yeah. So it basically, how many of us are in Black Bear Power? A pretty good amount. So yeah, basically most of the things that you're doing in Black Bear Power are going to touch on muscular strength. Okay, so yeah, I'm sure you guys are doing kind of the same thing. Yeah, when you're in the wellness center. So there's some examples for you: bench press, leg press, bicep curl. Like we were just saying, everything you do in Black Bear Power. So clean and jerk, deadlift, all of that. All right. So we'll look at this with the FIT principle once again. How many times a week do you guys think you should be in the gym, kind of do a max weight?
3 to 5.
3 to 5, something like that.
Every day of the week.
Every day. All right, we're looking at 2 to 3 times a week when it comes to muscular strength. Yeah, you did. You had it.
Yay.
It should be like 2.5.
2.5. Make sure you're taking notes on these, buddy, because you'll have to do a fitness plan. You'll have to be using a lot of this information that comes from it. All right, intensity. We're looking at heavy resistance. So, what do I mean by heavy resistance? What do we mean by heavy resistance?
Heavy weight.
Yeah, heavy weight, exactly.
Why are you in school?
How long do you think we should be doing this for our time? For our first 25 minutes,
An hour.
45 minutes, hour. So yeah, it can be longer, but we're looking at like more reps here. So depending on your workout, like 4 to 8 reps per exercise.
How big his feet are.
And type, once again, bench press, squat, all of that. We're just looking heavy weight though and less reps the whole time. So do we have any questions so far? Any questions so far? Is this all kind of making sense for us? Think it's good, Lynn? Okay, perfect. So we'll move into our next one, which will be more muscular endurance. All right. So muscular endurance. So this is going to be the abilities of your muscles to like keep performing continuously without fatiguing. So as you guys are writing that down, what are some examples you can think of that would go under muscular endurance? What's that? Pushing the sled, yeah, that would work. What else can we think? So it's the right idea. Let's think like body weight exercises. What are some body weight exercises that might go with it? Remember that's going to go on cardiovascular though.
Don't worry.
Plank, yeah, perfect. So yeah, some examples for you. Sit-ups, planks, step-ups, push-ups, of course. So basically everything that's not going to be as much weight, but you're going to be able to do more reps at a time. So it's going to test to see how long your muscles can keep going without adding that extra weight. I'll basically do that. All right. Applying this to our FIT principle, how many times a week do you think we're going for this? If we were 2 to 3 a week for
3 to 4.
muscular strength, 3 to 4, 5 every day, something like that. So yeah, we're looking at 2 to 3 days a week. So this is something you can think of. If you add it with muscular strength as well, you might be in the weight room 4 to 6 times a week then, which is getting you closer to maybe what you guys are doing now. Intensity. How many reps do you guys think we're looking at? Yeah, a lot. So it's going to be much more than the part before, and we're going to be at light resistance for this because we're trying to do those more reps. So about like 13 to 20 reps per exercise. Of course, that's going to depend on exactly what you're doing, how long you've been lifting, and different things like that. And then back to type, we're at, you could even look at bench press and squat, just going lower weight, more reps. I personally prefer doing body weight exercises, so I think of muscular endurance as just lifting my own body, whether it's pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups, however that is. Any questions with muscular endurance or the difference between muscular strength and endurance? Seems pretty straightforward. You guys got it? Yeah. All right. We're almost done with note taking. We're almost done. All right. Our next one is flexibility. Flexibility. Why do you guys think flexibility is something included with our 5 components of fitness?
So you don't break your back.
So you don't break your back, yeah, so being more flexible, being able to take more weight, things like that. What else do you guys think? Yeah, so you can continue to exercise and not pull things. I actually learned that flexibility, even if you're not working out, but you are making yourself more flexible, you're able to actually lift more weight because your muscles will have more range of motion. So in the end, you'll be able to lift more, even without. So, flexibility is simply, you guys pretty much know what it is, the ability of each joint to move through their different ranges of motion. other than stretching, kind of our most, I guess, the thing you think of the most when we talk about flexibility, what are some other ways we could improve our flexibility or we could work on flexibility? Other than stretching, just your typical stretching like this, what else could we do? Can't think of much? Nothing? Nothing? Okay. My big one for flexibility that I do personally is a lot of yoga. Yeah, so it sounds kind of funny, but I actually met this physical educator that was in Wichita. He went to Kansas Wesleyan and she played basketball there. And she was kind of the one that made me start looking into yoga a little more. So her junior year of college, about like 40% of their athletes were getting hurt throughout the basketball season. And so the next year, their coach decided that they were going to do yoga every day after practice for 15 minutes. And their number of injuries, like, it went from like the 40% to like 5%. She said there was like no injuries that year. So I decided I was going to start checking out yoga, you know, just kind of do it online by myself. And I actually do yoga now after every game that I play, and I don't find myself being as sore the next day. So I'm a big believer in yoga, so that's something you guys can kind of check out to work on your flexibility. And there's plenty of ways out there to kind of check it out. So after football games or after cross-country meets, volleyball, whatever, I suggest just doing 15 minutes of yoga. You guys, I think you'll tell a difference. Some more examples, stretching, like lunges, things like that, and then sit and reach. We've all done the sit and reach, right? What?
Never seen a guy do yoga.
Never seen a guy do yoga? It's worth it.
Trevor, we just did yoga.
I didn't do yoga, I did stretching.
That's not do yoga.
It's not like half the people did it anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
All right,
There were like 3
so
people actually doing it.
let's look at flexibility with our FIT principle. So we want to do this 3 or more times a week. This is where you're just setting time aside to do flexibility alone, because of course you want to stretch and do different things like that after you train. So 3 or more times a week, just setting aside time to stretch and kind of let your body relax. Intensity, you want mild tension. You don't want to be pulling so hard that you're going to hurt yourself or like pull a hamstring or something like that. But you also don't want to kind of do that dangle that we've all probably done in practice once or twice before when you don't feel like stretching. Yeah, you guys all know what I'm talking about. It's the end of practice and you guys are just kind of there going through the motions. So you want to find that nice middle spot where you feel a little bit with it.
That's that stuff. You do.
I don't do that. I don't run motions. Time. We're looking at 15 seconds of stretch and then a total of 15 minutes altogether. That's when you're just doing flexibility by itself. Of course, if you're doing something different like yoga, it might be longer than 15 seconds. It just kind of depends on what you're following. Because usually when I do it, it's guided by someone else. And type, of course, we have static and dynamic stretching. Can anybody tell me the difference between static and dynamic?
I used to.
You used to. You don't remember anymore?
Nope.
We had to
No.
know in the 7th grade for that.
What's that?
We had to know in the 7th grade.
We had to do posters over in 7th grade.
All right. So,
2-0.
dynamic stretching is going to be where you're doing it kind of with movement the whole time. So while doing things, you can think of like soldiers while you're walking, you're doing kicks, doing quads while you're walking, anything like that. Compared to static, where you're more in a circle at the end of practice or something, and we're touching our toes, standing quads, things like that. So dynamic will be with movement, while static, you're kind of stuck in the same spot. Yoga, you could also look at like martial arts or something like that, because you're getting a lot of stretching in there, although it's going to hit on some different things. Any questions with flexibility? Good, good. All right, we're on to our last one, which is a little bit different than the rest of them. So body composition. Does this sound familiar to anyone? No, not quite. Okay, so body composition is where you're looking at like the amount of fat mass compared to lean muscle mass, or like your bones and organs and different things like that. So it's basically just taking in your body fat percentage, to kind of see where you are. So there's a couple ways that you can test this. Has anybody ever seen a tool like this before? They're called skin calipers.
What?
Anything like this ever before?
I've seen a caliper.
Yeah, so this is a way that you can figure out your body composition. So basically what you'll do is there's all these different spots on your body that you'll take it, a lot of like it will be on the side here, and you'll kind of pinch your fat, and then you'll read the number that's on there, and then from there you'll plug it into different math formulas, and it'll give you your body composition. There's easier ways to do it now, but I like these more because I feel like it's more accurate. So I'll kind of pass these around. You guys can mess around with them. Just take a little look if you want.
There's too much math involved for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of math with it. So looking at how it can be tested, there's skinfold, there's underwater weighing as well, which is really cool, but you have to have the right facility, and most of the time you need a decent amount of money to do it. But they'll kind of look at how the water moves when you're placed in it, and then from there they'll figure that out. And then we also have kind of the newer monitors here, which make it super easy, which this will be up here if you guys want to check it out afterwards. But basically all you do with these is I'll go through, I'll put whether I'm an athlete or not, and then I'll end up putting in my height and my weight, male or female, and my age. And then from there, I'll start it, and I'll basically just hold it straight out, and it'll take your heart rate and kind of put everything together and give you what your body composition is. And then from there, you kind of figure out where you are. In order to figure out where you are, we can look at optimal body for health. So this would just be for health. Males are going to be between 10 to 25%, while females are going to be 15 to 25%. So that's looking at your optimal body comp for health. Whereas if maybe you're an athlete or more into fitness, you might, if you're a male, you might want to be a little more lean, looking at 5 to 15%. Where females, you're about at the same area, but 16 to 28% instead.
I don't think I have very much to do.
Now, usually you take a long test, so you like sides here, arms, stomach, not like, you'll like, you basically pull a little pinch. It's kind of hard to do it yourself. Perfect. So this was our last part of the 5 different components. Do you guys have any questions or anything we went over? Throughout the whole thing? Okay. So we're going to work on making a fitness plan then, which you'll be wanting to use the FIT principle and looking at how many times a week you should be doing these different things. So I'll kind of walk through this with you and give you some time to work on it. All right. So let's walk through this real quick. This will be your homework. So, the first part is pretty, or like the first page is pretty self-explanatory. You'll go through, you'll establish some fitness goals that you might want to achieve. Make them realistic, make them something you can do. Don't say you want to lose 30 pounds in a week because it's not possible, basically. So make it something that you could actually achieve in the future. Maybe you want to be able to run 5 miles at once by the end of the month, something like that. From there, you should just be able to use your notes if you took good enough notes to finish 2 through 4. And if you guys want to flip it to the next side, we'll be working on making a 2-week workout plan here. I want you to make this plan for when you're not in a sport or not in season. So please don't write football, 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 football.
Oh, man.
Actually look at different exercises. Maybe this is a summer workout you could be doing. Maybe between football and basketball season or whatever sports season you're in. Also, when you're doing this, make sure we hear this part. When you're doing this, make sure you only use the same exercise twice throughout the whole program, okay? I don't want you to just write the same thing, kind of like football, football, football. I don't want you to write bench, 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 bench. So think of some different exercises that you can put in there. Think of things we've done in the gym together, things that maybe you've done in the wellness center. And you can create this kind of however you want. Make the things something that you can get to, whether it's in the wellness center or you're doing it at your house. Don't design this to where you wouldn't be able to actually carry it out in the future. So yeah, for the most part, make sure you're looking through your notes, using that FIT principle to see how many times a week you should be doing something. And these boxes should most likely have 2 different things in them at times. Okay? You guys have any question on this, or does this seem pretty straightforward? This will be due Friday. We probably won't have class time. We have a couple minutes now, not too many. But yeah, so we homework here. What's that? Yeah.
No.
Any questions? Seem good? All right, you guys got a couple minutes. You can work on it. If you have questions, let me know, or let me know tomorrow too. Yes.